Yeah, so I'm happy to present the CS Cousin Cochrane Skin Core Outcome Set Initiative on behalf of Jan and the CS Cousin group. The background is about how messy is outcome choice and reporting in dermatology. To get a feeling about that, we undertook a meta-epidemiological study. So we, from the 64 Cochrane Skin group reviews, we took a random sample of 10, and those included 242 trials, of which we could retrieve 220. And within these trials, there were 1,700 outcomes. Some outcomes were safety outcomes, so we only focused on effectiveness, efficacy outcomes, and biomarkers we also did not include. So we had a list of 1,086 outcomes, and we analyzed those and the overlap between outcomes in reviews and in trials. Here you see that we covered a broad spectrum of conditions in dermatology like eczema, psoriasis, but also lichen sclerosus or ingrowing toenails, warts, and metastatic melanoma. And here you see the number of trials and outcomes. What is not so, surprising, but one finding was that from the 1,086 trial outcomes, reviews only used a minority, 1/3, but I think that is not a big issue. The bigger issue was that all the so we had in the 10 Cochrane reviews, we had 21 efficacy outcomes, and 5 of these, like a quarter, were not assessed in a single trial. So the reviews in 5 instances chose a primary outcome which was not assessed in a single trial. Another 6 primary outcomes were not assessed in the majority, but in less than 50% of the trials. And only 1 primary review outcome was reported in all trials. And for half of the outcomes, meta-analysis was not possible because of outcome reporting and definition. And all 100% of the Cochrane Skin reviews by that time reported that problems in outcome assessment and reporting in trials was a major barrier for evidence synthesis. So, and this then was, or this was, is the current situation in dermatology and possibly in other fields as well. Within dermatology, the HOME initiative piloted or pioneered core outcome set development. For atopic eczema, we started, Howell Williams and I started an initiative in 2012-13 and developed the so-called HOME roadmap. From the very beginning, we thought that you have to have a consensus on the measurement instrument level. It's that the domain level is just not sufficient. So we have 4 steps, and we approved this roadmap then also for CS Cousin. That's why I tell you. So we first define the scope and applicability. For CS Cousin, it's only clinical trials. In HOME, we also look at routine care record keeping, and then the domain level, the development of a core set of outcome domains. And then, so this took us, for HOME, this took us like a little bit less than a year. But then the biggest issue is the identification and concentration of the right measurement instruments. This took us 6 years for HOME and is still ongoing process for many other core outcome sets. And here we have a procedure which I can share with you, or we can discuss later if you want, but this is not the major point. It's just that we have a strong, in this initiative, we have a strong focus on the measurement instrument level, and we think that for each domain you should only have 1 measurement instrument to achieve the goal of pooling and comparing trial results. And then the last but maybe most important step is the dissemination and implementation. So what is the reason for CS Cousin is that cost development is important in dermatology, and it requires an involvement of all relevant stakeholders. And we think that methodologists and clinicians and trialists and systematic reviewers and also guideline people need to work very well together in that, and also involve patients. And we think that, and that this is what started by the time, for squamous cell carcinoma of the skin, 2 core outcome sets were started, and we think that multiple core outcome sets are inappropriately developed and not valid, or not like correctly developed core outcome sets would even reinforce the problem than solve them. So we have a strong focus on quality assurance and cost development within CS Cousin. So it was in 2016, it was founded by Howell Williams and myself, and structurally integrated into Cochrane Skin. And the basic idea is to integrate clinical, methodological expertise and stakeholder input in dermatology in order to develop high quality core outcome sets. This is Howell, which most of you know. So the organization, it's a management group, which is currently Jan Kottner is the chair. I was chair previously, and and Jan is chairing now. So the management group takes care of all the management procedures and webpage and helps organizing meetings and so on. But more important is the methods group and the project groups. The project groups, they develop core outcome sets, and the management, the methods group provides peer review and peer support for the project groups. So we have some more experienced people who also already developed core outcome sets. These are the members of the methods group. It's some people from home. Here we have Jan, who you know, and many of you may also know Jamie Kirkham from Comet, and it's really great to have him on board, and he's very active in the methods group. And each member of the method group then is is affiliated then with one or more cost development groups. And this group agreed on standard procedures and to have quality assurance in cost development. And so we have, well, it's quite formalized. So we have documents and forms that are filled in by the groups, and they actually want this quite quality assured process because it provides them some assurance that what they do is methodologically sound. So they share protocols. The methods group comments protocols, and then it's approved. And we ask people to register with Comet. And so this is a long process, and many groups started this process. We have in here just some conditions on acne, on urticaria, chronic wounds. Also on incontinence associated dermatitis, or for melanoma. So there are quite a lot of groups, nail psoriasis, for rosacea, but also for laser treatment in dermatology. Some are about to start, some started, only a few already consented the core outcome domains. A major problem for all of these groups is that so we require international representation and patient participation and quite a lot methodological things, as also written down in the Comet handbook and standards. So we hardly none of the group is funded, so it's all like extra work for them. Only for eczema we have fixed the instruments level. A few groups also are working on the instruments level here, vitiligo and hidradenitis suppurativa. One other aspect is that we also do methodological work, I need to say that particularly in home we have a very close and good relationship with OMERACT and all the home meetings where were moderated by very experienced colleagues from Omarek, Jess Winder-Singh or Martin Bors. And this was very, very helpful. And Martin's and Jess Winder's advices were so at the very beginning, this was very critical and helped us a lot. So thanks to Omarek at this stage. And we also benefit a lot from all the work that Cochrane and also Cosman did. So we use your guidance material, but we operationalize it and take care that it's really done that way. So and another thing is that we do methodological research. So we here again took the Omarek 2 filter and the outcome taxonomy by Comet and tried to map the 1086 efficacy outcomes I told you about in the beginning. And here we had the finding that half of the outcomes, the concept to what was measured was not described precisely. We do not have to go into detail, but we think that we need, within dermatology, there are several hierarchical levels for outcome domains. And then finally, the concepts need to be defined very well. One example is that in the melanoma review, there were 6 different definitions for progressive-free survival. And with that situation, even if they all measure progression-free survival, you cannot compare. Unfortunately, we know, and I told you, and Donna told us before, that the how to measure is complicated. We more and more, I will skip that. This is just an example of the different hierarchical levels. So here you have, for example, the life impact per area, and then you have the domain acceptance of care. Then here's coping and compliance, and then there's itching behavior was measured in a trial, or skincare behavior that was then specific. So this is all on the what level, but the basic point now in eczema, we really implement, or I think the core outcome set for eczema, it's very well implemented now, or quite good implemented, quite well. But even if we fix the what and how level, it now turns out that we still cannot compare, because the one thing is that trials measure at different points in time, which may, and then you can say, well, we might certainly pool the 10 and the 14-week response rates if the outcome is sound, but they also use different metrics. Some report mean changes, some report proportions with 50 or 75 or 90% benefit. So I think that we all have to not stop with the how, but also think about the when to measure and how to compare dimensions of outcome standardization. So the final 2 slides say that our priorities is that we have to finish now the work that has begun, and this will take quite a few years and will be quite a lot of work, and then we have certainly to implement these core outcome sets. We think that it's very good, and that we are next to, or Omarek certainly the most visible, but I think that this is also another example for a core outcome set overarching initiative within a discipline, within a clinical discipline, and we hope to serve as a model for others to bridge clinical and methodological expertise in cost development. We have a long meeting where all the cost groups from dermatology can meet and bring in so little, not as big, but similar than Omarek conferences. We have a longer and large meeting this September. Christian Apfelbacher will organize it in Magdeburg, and so maybe some of you is interested in that. That was my short presentation to give you an idea of what is Cochrane Skin core outcome set.